You know what? That was my mistake. Oh my goodness,
Ah,
I had the wrong button on my. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Not your technology. It's not the station technology. It's the technology in my head that went awry. Sorry about that, Curtis.
no problem.
Oh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. Doing really well.
You're busy. Oh my goodness! Between all the different things that you do with young people, with Rising Stars basketball, and some of the business ventures that you're managing, you're a busy guy.
I tend to be, yes. Yes. It's what keeps me out of trouble and probably yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Keeps
Just
me out of
leave.
trouble.
Oh man! So you've been an LCO member all your life, right? It's been,
Correct.
and you've been doing lots of things. I don't know what your youth was like in school, but tell us a little bit about your school history and kind of your life story, and then how you got into doing these business things.
Sure, sure. Caught me off guard a little bit, but we'll make this happen. Well, I attended LCO school, so the K-12 school from
Okay. Yeah.
Head Start all the way through kindergarten up until seventh grade. Seventh grade is when I transferred out to Hayward.
Okay.
I ended up graduating from Hayward, but my I'll kind of bring everything full circle. But one of my things were always the opportunities that were few and far between. Sorry, and there just weren't enough. I thought, and maybe there was something out there that could create some opportunities. And I looked, high and low. And eventually I just said, I like creating things. I'm going to create something.
Now,
But
was this right out of high school or during high school? You were.
no, this was after. So when I finished college, I'll get to that.
Okay.
So I graduated from Hayward High School in 2003. So that ages me a little bit. I know some people don't really know how old I am, but yeah, I'm 38.
Let's see. We can figure this out. Math.
Yeah, you got to carry the one, and
Uh-huh.
But after Hayward High School, I went to attend Northland College up in Ashland.
Okay.
Went for business administration, and I wanted to learn computer programming. That was always something I wanted to learn. Like those hackers on TV.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
C++ and all those other.
that's what it was. I found out that all that really cool hacking is nothing like on the movies. So you're just sitting there in front of a bunch of boring strings of code. And
Oh my goodness. Yes.
so so that led me. I played in college and high school. All conference, all region, a couple other awards that came out of that. Then I played in college. So that's Division III. Played basketball. That is.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I played basketball. And then that led to like a brief stint with they were called the Minnesota Ripneys. They were alive and well for like, I don't know, maybe 2.5 years. But they're a semi-professional team out of St. Paul. So I had a brief stint with them. So I've kind of been all over the place when it comes to the game of basketball. And then after my years at Northland College, I came back, home to LCO, and I assumed the head coach position at the LCO school for the boys. So I coached their varsity team for, I want to say it was 6, maybe even 7 years. So that was kind of my varsity first experience. I was really young. I was 22. So I took that over. But yeah, like I was saying, I've been in around with the game since 5th grade, 6th grade. Haven't really stopped. And, one of the things that I came up with that Rising Stars concept was because we don't have those opportunities here. If you wanted that opportunity, you have to drive 3.5 or 3 hours, both ways on a Thursday at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and then get home by midnight, just to have that opportunity. So it was something I thought we could bring here to northern Wisconsin, especially in LCO, where very few opportunities like this do exist. So it was just something I figured, well, let's do that, and I built it out. And I think it was the passion that I brought to it that really attracted some of the parents and some of the kids. And now we've got a full 5 coach volunteer-led staff. We've got 60
Wow.
players that join our, so we call them members. They give annual memberships. So we got 60 members, and then outside of that, I do free workouts over at the Boys and Girls Club every Saturday for 4 hours, and I get kids from Ashland, Bayfield, Hurley, Mellon, Rice Lake, Cameron, Bruce, so all over the place. And those are free of charge. So people just hop in the car and they feel that it's obviously worth it to drive past all these communities and schools to come here to LCO and work out. So we put them through a nice little workout. And last year I kept a log of it for myself. I'm I'm a business guy, so I like to track everything. We put in 184 volunteer hours last year, reached it was 113 kids. I had to go back and track, but it was 113 kids we reached last year. So that's Rising Stars basketball in a nutshell, and kind of my little story about where I am here today with some of the youth stuff.
Yeah. So then when did you start to get into business or entrepreneurial? You did a lot of things. The biggest thing I think was the Three Bears Lawn Care with your kids. You even got into Minneapolis news there with that effort. Tell us about Three Bears, how that came about.
Okay, yeah. So Three Bears was part of kind of that COVID year where school wasn't in session. They provided all the kids with these packets. So they were homework packets, I guess.
Yeah.
They would send them home. We'd work on them here. My two finished them pretty quickly. They were just that bored. They're like, I'd rather do homework than, nothing. So they sat down at the table and they started working on them. So we were done pretty quickly with ours. And I don't recall when or what the date was, but they were done pretty quickly. And then we were just kind of sitting there for like 2 weeks. I'm behind the laptop working on stuff. I said, hey, we got to do something. Like, what do you guys want to do? So obviously, they were at the time 11 and 12. So like, hey, let's play video games. And I'm like, no, something that you could learn, where you can learn a skill and maybe earn some money as well. Video game testing. So everything came back to video games, right? And I'm like, no. That's the whole point. We're trying to get out of the house.
Right.
Something that isn't video games. So, they had all these ideas. Let's do a car wash. And I'm like, well, we had this big board going, like almost like a legit full-on strategic planning session. We were sitting there whiteboarding. And then we came back to window washing, like big window squeegees, and lawn care. And we already had all the equipment for lawn care. I said, well, what if we just started lawn care? Would you guys be okay with that? And, they don't know. They're 12 and 11. So they're like, sure, let's do it. Well, they're excited for money. And we get to it. And we were published in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and Minneapolis Star Tribune because I drafted a story. I can't remember where I originally published it, but it was a story of how we went from 0 to 28 accounts, or 0 to full time, which was 40 accounts for us in 28 days.
Wow!
So I had made this headline, and then I got 2 phone calls, and they wanted to do an interview. So that's kind of how that came about. And today we still have Three Bears Lawn Care going. My kids now are 15 and 14, or 15 and 13. I'm sorry, he's not 14.
Yeah.
So we are looking back at our getting our 40 accounts going again, and just renewing contracts. So I've been emailing and calling everyone this week, in addition to all the other stuff I do. So that's kind of our Three Bears Lawn Care story. It formulated out of COVID, when everyone said, hey, nobody's spending money, and we're like, we're going to prove you wrong.
Yeah. Well, you've been doing this through your company called Superior Marketing. Now, I'm sure Three Bears was part of that project, because you do a lot of analytical and behind the scenes Google Analytics and social media and test marketing. I don't know what it all entails, but tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with Superior Marketing, and let's talk maybe a little bit about your Bijou Coffee company that you started. You had a pizza company there.
Right.
I'm assuming that all came out of Superior Marketing.
It did. So one of the things deeply ingrained in I guess what I believe is, I'm not going to sell somebody something that I haven't used myself, or I'm not going to tell somebody to do something I can't do myself. So if I'm going out and trying to generate some new clients for my marketing company, and maybe I'm saying, hey, I want to help your restaurant or your bar take it to the next level with some of this digital marketing that's coming out here, this new technology. We can reach, thousands of new customers, bring them in, capture their information and market to them year round for $0, something to that effect. I better know how to market a restaurant or a bar, which I've had plenty of clients now for that. But the other things were like coffee shops, lawn care businesses, because that was actually one of the projects. I said, well, if a lawn care business in Hayward doesn't want to hire us to do their marketing, you know what? We're going to market ourselves. And we did. So like today, we're all over. If you Google anything Hayward Lawn Care, you'll find us on, I don't know, every single page, every listing you can name.
And right at the top of those results, right?
Absolutely. So that's kind of one of the things that I do with Superior Marketing is on the digital marketing side is finding, helping companies increase their visibility. And then beyond that, obviously generating more clients and customers, leads, making it easy for them to do business through some storytelling and messaging. I'm big on content. So I love writing. That's one of my biggest things is writing. So I love writing stories for my clients and putting them into almost a contextual, I guess, a sales approach. It's not salesy, but it does lead you to kind of down that path where you're like, that sounds amazing. I would love to do business with them. Oddly enough, I'll just share this. It's been the last 2 years. So when we were building out kind of our clients for the lawn care stuff, we had calls from a lot of visitors, vacationers, and they said, we just love your story on your website and we'd love to support that. So people do read your blog posts, they do read those blogs, and whether people want to believe that or not, blog posts are very popular. People love blog posts. So that's one of the things I do is write blog posts, create articles, do press releases, and just kind of tell and share the story. So the Superior Marketing was this company that I created in 2008 that started out, I was doing door hanger campaigns because I didn't really know a lot about digital, but I knew a lot about marketing, messaging, and mostly sales, because that's kind of where my career started. I was a door-to-door sales guy selling security systems, vacuums, down in Milwaukee, Madison, La Crosse, Minneapolis, you name it. So, I think that's where a lot of that stuff came from, was the foundation aspect, at least, is understanding messaging. And you have 6 seconds before you lose someone's attention. So how do you garner that attention? How do you keep it? How do you harness it and turn it into a transaction? So I guess that's kind of where everything started with me, was the door hangers. Then it moved into I was hiring people to do websites, and I felt they were overcharging, so I'm like, I'm going to learn that. So I learned it, and I already had the HTML and C++ background from, Northern College. So I knew that stuff. I just wasn't as sexy with it. I just couldn't make the big sexy pages, but then that led it.
Basic pages that contained all the content that people needed. You had that structure down.
Right. Yeah. I knew how to do all that. It was just, they weren't as pretty as the other ones. So that was my biggest challenge.
We have 5 minutes left. I want to talk about some of your other achievements, including some book writing. What you've written a couple books now already?
7 and 8. I just published 2 more last 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I've written books, again, marketing and sales. So I share my experiences. Like I said, I don't want to tell somebody how to do something if I've never done it. So it's all about my experiences in sales, prospecting, selling, digital marketing. So my latest 2 books are I wrote one about basketball, actually. It's a 10,000 makes challenge. So I've had the content already. I'm like, I'm just going to publish this and give it to the masses. So it's a 10,000 makes program. And that one came out because I couldn't find online a shooting program, like how to shoot the basketball, what drills, how many reps. So I'm like, I'm going to make my own. So I published it on Amazon. It'll be in Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all the online bookstores. And then my latest one is Powerhouse Mailers. So I got into it 3 years ago using mailers, sales letters, putting them in the mail, generating new clients, helping fundraising efforts, you name it.
That's interesting. That's old school stuff.
Very old school.
We got away from all that because of emails and electronic, and maybe people are tired of that. Is that what you're finding? Is people are
That's
tired
what
of
I'm finding. Well, most importantly, what I'm finding is marketing trends are cyclical. So what used to be really effective in the olden days is coming back because I think the saying is, if something is working, a marketer will ruin it. So I fully think that, when a new trend comes out, marketers jump on it and they ruin it, and then all the other stuff, the lagging stuff that was comes full circle again. So I always keep my eye on what were people doing in the 70s, 80s, even in the 60s to do some of their advertising and marketing. A lot of it came down to direct mail. So I really got into that and started learning copywriting and all that wonderful stuff that goes into that. But I guess the last thing for that would be I won 2 awards for 2 books that I wrote. One was Best Sales Book of All Time by Book Authority, and then another one was Best Sales Prospecting Ebook of All Time by Book Authority.
Mm-hmm. And I'll mention some of the other awards because I don't want you to toot your own horn, but you recently received the Service Excellence Award nomination from the Wisconsin Department of Tourism. You have the 2023 Local Business Person of the Year from, how do you pronounce that? Alignable?
Alignable, yeah, new social media network.
Yeah, and then Good Firms voted you the top rated digital marketing company. And one of the more prestigious things that I've always admired you for was the National 40 Under 40 from the National Center of American Indian Enterprise Development.
That's correct.
Wow. And I know you've been talking with famous Dave Anderson, another LCO member and successful business entrepreneur, and he likes what you're doing, and your relationship with him has been very good. He's probably given you a lot of advice and tips.
Yes.
Encouragement. Speak about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave reached out first when the Tribal First Pizza came out, and he wanted to learn more about that. We just started sharing, and I think everything I was vomit at the mouth, spewing out, he just, he said, I need your information. We got to talk. Yeah. So we've been talking ever since, and I want to say that was 2019. So, it's been 4 years of us communicating. He'll call quite often, and we'll just talk business. We'll just brainstorm and throw ideas back and forth. It's been really good, and he's been very helpful in a lot of the things that I've created today, just in giving some advice from his experience, because there's a lot of wisdom there.
And you're now reaching out to other LCO entrepreneurs, business starters, business operators. You got 30 seconds to talk about how that is, how you're reaching out.
Well, I'm just doing an outreach because there's millions and millions of dollars that came down from the state of Wisconsin and federal resources. And if I can help with their business startup and their ideation and accessing funding from these native CDFIs around the state, I want to be helpful in that capacity. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Yeah.
Well, Curtis, thank you. I wish you best of luck, and I know you're going to do well in your adventures.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Right.